Is a question mark. The quest from the start is at best less bark, more bite, at worst a war, fight till I'm sore. Right marks that left marks, like bite marks, try to light dark when life parks a knife right in my light heart. And imparts stark sight of the dark side, like if you combine the dark night's mind with the night Ned Stark died. So when my heart starts to smart like a shark bite, I don't gab. I grab my pen and stab my pad, a lab I have where my reed sows lead seeds I've been keeping, waiting for my grim reaping, and thankful God has seraphim keeping watch over me while I am sleeping. Weeping when only God, angels, and demons see me, voiceless screaming, streaming through my pen, lead the choicest seamen, aiming to impregnate and engage the page and raise phrases. I raise pages and raise questions as life raises the stakes, like I'm a vampire, a bloodsucker, never love-struck, constant love ducker who causes others to suffer like a mother, just like my mother. She's never satisfied. But what's sad is why for years they tried to sanitize, all they did was satirize. I sit here with sadder eyes and all that's said is why. And though all that's dead has died, I confide in the Lord of resurrections that maybe the dead shall rise. And when I'm fed with lies, he makes me vomit. Vomit these phonics that help me create tight sonnets, but no matter how deep or iconic, they're just not the right tonic to tap into my panic. Like I'm trapped in the Titanic, attacked and on track to try Xanax. I try to relax, but relapse, perhaps my mind's manic. Or perhaps the time granted, I've taken mine for granted, though I have yet to find a granite end or rock bottom yet. Life's clock's got a debt. From the day I was dropped in autumn to the day of my death, I'm paying my debt in pain and in sweat. The strain that I get from the pain in my neck's from the globe that sits on my spinal column. But until I write at last, in my solemn final column, will I be chasing a ring as blind as Gollum? Or have my faith shook when friends on Facebook take my faith book into my faith look and cry homophobe and decry my Y chromosome? Forgive me, I live in my head, so my dome is home. Stay home alone, roaming down the Romans road. And even though I'm grown, I kneel a sinner after stones are thrown. A divine appeal on my knees as I phone the throne. Sometimes this world don't feel real like Neo before it's shown in code. And even after I'm shown the goal, sometimes while the sunshine shone, it's cold, it's tense. Seeing my church home fold, it's tense. Seeing the pastor's sole intent was to scold and vent. I watched his soul invent the hole that bent the hole, intense his hole that rent the mold. And sensed he sold his sense, his hold, his strength left to fold in dents. A spiritually old infant. Incidentally, I'm told he doubts his senses. His mind was touched by all accounts, like a census. A thorn in the flesh, no doubt God sent this. It's scary to be indented. God carried out his sentence. I shudder as I pen his appendix. I'm his brother. I tried to be his friend and apprentice, but I don't know when I commend this. But before I'm commended, I know I'm commanded to commend this to God, but to God, please commend this. These things I can't pretend to contend with. To be candid, even as I pen this, I pray God descend and send his appendage of contentment. Is he upset? I didn't intend to offend him. I didn't unfriend him. But at times it feels like my life is suspended while they cross this defendant. My loss and albatross round my neck like a pendant. Sandwiched by my cross that keeps my back and knees bended. I seem to be blended. I'm Kendrick Lamar Jackson, rhyming till I pass away, and then my life's ended, and as it's extended, struggles mount as I spend it. My heart is my home. Others has rented, and rented in two. God meant it for two. You meet the girl of your dreams, you think God meant her for you? You think God lent her to you? I give up just like it's Lent, but try to orient to her heavenly scent that's heaven sent. My 2 senses to try to sense her common sense. who she gets to cleanse her common sins, and if we sketch with common pens. But soon after the calm, we become unhinged. Our union becomes drama tinged. We were both singed as we backpack through hell like Dante. My heart almost grows hard like al dente. And I sometimes feel like life meant me to be the back end of a donkey. Both our locked hearts had the wrong key. The songs we sing, we heard in the wrong key. This monkey on my back is King Kong. I'm king of the wrong thing. Always hurting, my heart's in a long sling, forever fighting with a past her. I was fighting with a pastor, past tense. A broken rib and empty quiver has me past tense. Funny, but that last sentence smashes my chest like a crash test dummy. I seek repentance to my repass. I guess I'll pass this test someday. I'll rest someday when it's more or less sunny. To my Godfather who has veto power, I'm afraid, oh, that when I get on the mic, I'm more or less sunny. Angry, he knows more or less of me, so I'm aiming to see where he aims me. The same me who blames me for the shame that helped frame me, but before I call his name and complain that he's made me, I should refrain from that refrain. This pain is to train me, keep me on track. Like two trains, he protects me from traps. Like two chains, he saw me trapped in two chains and sin-stained, and he claimed me, cleaned me, and was inclined to change me into this strange thing. Turn my world upside down like this was Stranger Things. Love came down in a manger scene and seemed to halt time and shook my world. That's why I write fault lines. That's how I ask why while toiling earth's salt mines as the enemy assaults minds. I pray he won't assault mine if my default is to exalt my God and learn his scruples. Fix my eye problems, be a discerning pupil like Job. I promise, convert the doubting Thomas, and even though I'm hurt through all my traumas, I should dash to read God's quote during the periods of life's commas. The drama of being on life's wait list makes me feel weightless, so I need to handle these next bars and wait this like I'm going to weight lift. To wait this way is wasted if while I'm waiting, I'm debating the sideways eight whose statements did create this world. This world will shapeshift, and we can get caught in its vices, whether it's ISIS or a midlife crisis. Christ says we are to be people fishers, Pisces. This is not a game like Fisher-Price is, and no matter how you slice it, life is divisive no matter where the knife is. Life at its nicest is the night that's dark and full of vices. It unlightens with what fool's advice is. We need to set our sights to where the light is. We can't always get life just right, but we can live life righteous. We need to stay on the side where Christ is, who we were crucified with. That's what my life's price is, and his grave site is the last rites of my sin. Life's license and where every one of my whys is. And though life is breeding them, the difference between the wise and the wisest is wanting the wise answered versus trusting him and not needing them.